Hey now it's time to talk
Oh
to
yeah,
Big L.
I'm loving this.
Yes, it's time to talk to Big L. Okay, I'll say that.
Oh yes,
Yeah, how
Mark.
you doing?
I'm doing good, my friend. It's been a many moons.
It has.
It has been a many moons. How about I open the show and I'm going to get right on you? All right.
All right.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Welcome back to No Cover TV podcast. That's right. I'm your host, Big Al, and I'm the guy that shoves that original, local, and national music scene, and I just put it in your face, kind of slap you up a little bit, make you listen to it. Because there's a lot of great music out there. And I beg of you to turn that radio down once in a while, stick your head out the window and take a listen. Because there's just some beautiful stuff out there of all genres, of all age groups. And we've had them on the show. Please check out the previous shows, and you got to check out the shows that are coming up. We got some doozies coming. Oh, do we ever? But I got to thank a few people first before I get to my special guest. I want to thank Silesic Guitars Moravia out of Czech Republic. They make exotic guitars, beautiful work that they do. I want to thank Turnstiles Bar and Grill in Grand Rapids that caters to the local original music scene. I appreciate that very much. We got Life Cycle mushroom extracts. I like mushrooms, not the psychedelic anymore, though. So, anyways, that's on you. So then, and of course, Rockin' Vodka hit me up. Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick hit me up and said, promote the vodka. So if you like spirits, there you go, people. There you go. But what this show is about, support, support, support your local and national music scene. And that's what we're going to do today. And today is a great day because I got my old friend Mark Daves in the house. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great, Al. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing terrific, my friend. I am glad you got a hold of me.
Well, yeah. It's about time. We go all the way back to the cafe days, back to the Hungry Heart Cafe days when you were bringing bands around, I believe, at that time.
That was, what year was that? Actually,
Oh,
2003, four.
that was 150 years ago. That was back when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
I wrote one in actually, I think, to the show.
I'm gonna
Oh,
say 2002, maybe 2003, just something like that. I don't know.
yeah, it was around that area because I was bringing you in a lot of the younger kids playing and stuff. You cater to the younger
Those are good times.
generation.
Yeah, during those 2 years, I think we had about 200 bands pass through the place. I think I surrendered about maybe 5-10% of my hearing at that time.
Well, it wasn't a big place, but you did pack the place and you brought it in and you did a service to this community, and I appreciate that.
Well, it was a all ages, no alcohol, no tobacco. We had some bands so young there that their moms and dads would bring them there in the station wagons and the minivans. Hey, Dad, do I have this set up right? Yeah, son, you go.
Oh, I miss you, Mark. I mean, we don't have that no more. We don't got coffee shops doing that or anything like for the kids anymore now.
Oh,
COVID really kind of screwed things up.
well, those are good times. They really were. I didn't make any money. The
Of
only time
course.
the only time I made money was when I finally sold the building, got out of the business.
Okay, so before I get to talking about what you're doing now, I'm going to take you on the past. Okay, all my artists I like to put in a time capsule, and you're one of them.
Wow, here
So
we go. Oh no.
here we I'm going to find out stuff about you that I don't even know if I want to know. But anyways, we're going back. Okay, Mark, you're in the time capsule. We're flying around. Yeah, you're 12 years old, buddy. What are you listening to?
Oh, 12 years old. I'm listening to the Beatles. Um, I was at the Christian Reformed campground over on Lake Michigan there, and walking around one day, and I heard out of somebody's radio from a campsite. I heard "I Want to Hold Your Hand." I believe it was about that time.
Yeah.
12 years old. That would be 1960. Oh my God, 1967. I was born in 55, and so
wow.
yeah, I heard some Beatles, and from there it was on. I love that stuff. It was a departure from the usual gospel quartets that my dad always foisted on us, which I enjoyed. But
Right.
yeah, that was a shifting of gears right then. So then, from then on, it was pretty much go down to the local music store and get that top 10 or top 50, whatever it was. The WLAV and WGRD would put on a little piece of paper that had all the big hits on there, and I'd track them, and listen to them on my radio in the room. So it was all about the top 40 at that time. And so I listened to everything, the Beatles and the Doors and Aretha Franklin and just whatever I could get my ears on.
Good. Now, back then when you were listening to that music, when did you decide you wanted to play around with singing and possibly playing instruments?
Well, I played in the band all the way through high school, and I kind of came up in a church playing trumpet duets with my brother, so we were always kind of involved in music. But then my brother was playing the guitar one day in the basement, and I was playing my bongos. We were just clowning around, and I opened a book of poetry and started singing Walt Whitman's Dalliance of the Eagles to the chords that he was playing, and we happened to have the tape recorder running, and we listened to it afterwards. It was a perfect tape of an impromptu song, and we looked at each other and said, "Dag, we got to start a band." And so we did. We started the Electric Monk in 1977. 77. I picked up the bass guitar because everybody played guitar in my acquaintance.
Right.
Then we ran into Mark Jaspers, who was a good songwriter, also a guitar player, and he had an electric guitar and an amplifier. Big deal at that time.
Exactly.
And then Mark was working for a group home at the time. He went shopping up at Duttler Food over in Michigan and Fuller in Grand Rapids, and the bag boy said, "Man, you got a lot of food. You must have a big family." Mark said, "Oh, I work at a group home, blah, blah, blah." And Don Bright, he said, "Well, I'll help you load." And he said to Mark, "You look like a rock and roller. I'm a drummer." And yeah, we need a drummer. We need it. Next thing you know, we got a band. So we got a house. We all lived in the house. We made a lot of noise in the house. We played until 11 o'clock, and then the cops would come and tell us to shut it down. So that's kind of how that
went. Exactly. So how long did that band last?
Well, I would say the last sputtering gasps occurred in the early 90s, although we did have reunions as recently as 2017, 18, and 19 in Michigan, which were very fast.
To be together that long and then come back and do some reunions, that's really great.
Yeah, those are good times.
Yeah, brings back those old songs.
Yeah, those guys are not doing it anymore, and the band was called Electric Monk. So Electric Monk. Now that name was used by a band in Finland from the 1980s until the 1990s to around 2000 something, and now that name is being used by a band in Taiwan. So the name has gotten bandied about. But a few years ago, it occurred to me, I am the last monk standing. Bam! I got the website, I set up the YouTube channel, and I started to record again.
There you go. I like it, Mark. I like it. So, okay, now we're over with the band. What made you get into owning a coffee shop?
Well, I read a book by Robert G. Allen called Creating Wealth, and he talked about the zero down principle, where you borrow the down payment and then you get owner financing. I thought that's great. Right. So I bought a cottage and I put a renter in there. It worked really smooth. So then I decided, okay, let's take it the next step. And I found this dilapidated building on West Fulton back when it was a really tough neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
And I got it for a song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got it for very cheap. We had a family of skunks living in the basement, and there was water coming in the roof. And it needed a ton of renovating. I spent 3.5 years renovating it. And at the end of it, we had a coffee shop. So
yeah,
it was a slow process. Yeah,
but it came along great.
Yeah,
it really did.
It did. I remember one time we had all the windows blocked up so that the inspectors couldn't see that we were doing, the work ourselves. I remember one day I could hear knocking at the door, and I stood by the door, and I could hear the lady next door talking to whoever it was, and she said, "They're almost there. They're almost finished. You don't really want to buy." It was the city coming around to bust me for for doing my own electric, right? And she said,
"Right, okay, yeah.
Oh, we need a place like this in the community." Blah blah blah. And she's pleading for me, and of course I'm standing behind the door. They don't know that I'm listening to the whole thing. You think I answered that door? Oh, hell no. Couple weeks later, we call the health inspector. He comes by. He says, as far as I can tell, everything's kosher. You can open. Bam.
You did it, man. You did it. So
we did our own electric. We did our own plumbing. We did our own carpentry. We did our own tile. It was a massive project. But it worked out well. Yeah.
It did. And I enjoyed it. I had a lot of good memories with the coffee shop. Now, how many years did you have the coffee shop?
I ran it for 2 years, but I had the building for 12.
12.
Shortly after I got it, I put a tattoo artist in there, Steve's Tattoos and Jewelry too, and he was in there for a while I was there, while I was reworking the upstairs apartment. And then, we kind of cash flowed the place for a little bit. He stayed. He did a little bit of renovating himself, and then when he moved out, then I tore out what he did. I removed the drop ceiling, got back to the original, about 14, 15-foot ceiling, and
nice.
Yeah,
that's great. Now, you kind of did a 360 on me. You took off. You went around the world.
I did. I'll tell you something. Yeah, I'll tell you something. Here's the deal, Al. Nobody owns a coffee shop. The coffee shop owns you. So you start at 7 o'clock in the morning. You run to get your supplies. You're running up to Sam's Club or whatever it is, to Meijer, and you're getting your vegetables and your meat over at Frank's Market. You got to go over to the Gordon Food Supply to get some paper products, and it goes on and on and on. You race around in the morning, then you go back to the cafe and you got to chop everything up and put it in little bins and get ready to open. Bam, you open at 11 o'clock and you run till 11 o'clock at night, and then you close her down and clean her up. Now, when I started, it was just me. The first year, it was just me. Sure. So I worked 16-hour days for a year without a break. And finally, I hired a few people the second year. Now, toward the end of the second year, I noticed that Grand Valley State University had built their graduate school about 6 doors away from my place, and the building had zoomed in value, and I was getting pretty tired. I was worn out.
Well, I bet you were.
So I got a good offer on the building. I sold it for a lot more than I paid for it. And nice. I was able to go back to school and renew my teaching certificate. Went to Florida, taught for a year. The economy crashed. I got laid off with 18 other teachers at the school. Some of those teachers went back to Boston or New York or Michigan or wherever they came from, Illinois. Some of them sold cars in Florida or sold insurance. I looked at the listings for jobs in Asia, and I said, Asia, here I come. So I put my resume on daveseslcafe.com. And the next day I had 35 job offers from Korea and 6 from Taiwan. Now, why only 6 from Taiwan and so many from Korea? I looked at the weather report, snowing in Korea, warm and sunny. Taiwan.
So Taiwan, here it comes.
I spent 14 years there. I taught everything from kindergarten to graduate students. It was a great old time. There were a lot of opportunities there.
That's beautiful. And that had to definitely make your heart grow big, just teaching those kids. That had to be something else.
Not only that, I taught like grade school or high school or junior high during the day, but I was teaching adults in the evening at a place called Global Village Organization. And wouldn't you know it, one day this beautiful girl walks in, and I look at her and she looks at me, and bam! The next thing you know, we're busy courting, and I married her. Now that's my wife, Karen.
Yes.
I can't tell you how lucky I got. She's a farmer's daughter. She's a nurse. She's a beautiful Taiwanese lady, and she's a lot younger than me, and so pretty, and so kind and compassionate. And she supports my music. She loves the music. So I got real lucky in Taiwan. Everything came together in Taiwan.
Well, I'm so happy for you, Mark. I know you were seeking that.
Because of that. There we go.
You found what you wanted. This is great. I love it, man.
It was great. Now, a few years, now all these years, I'm carrying the Electric Monk songbook. There's 112 songs in this book, right? I know there's more songs, but there's only 112 that I could get my hands on.
Okay.
And this whole time it's kind of bugging me. Why aren't I recording these songs?
True.
Well, one day I decided, let's look around Taiwan and figure out the recording situation. So the first recording studio I went to was pretty rough. The bass amp didn't work, and the ashtrays were overflowing, and the piano was out of tune, and the guys didn't care. And then my car got towed and it was raining. So and they charged a lot of money too. The first one was a disaster. So I went home and regrouped. And then I called a place that was pretty close to my house and talked to Badlu at Celebrity Music. He said, come on down. So I came on down, and you know what? Badlu is fast on the mixing board. He was willing to play the guitar and very intuitive understanding of what I was trying to do, willing to experiment. We had a lot of laughs. And the next thing you know, we recorded 25 songs in that studio. Those are all on my YouTube channel. Last Monk Standing. Hey, there's a plug right there, everybody. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Last Monk Standing.
Last Monk Standing. All right. What platforms are?
Well, we're on SoundCloud. I'm on SoundCloud, YouTube, of course, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, the usual places, you know.
Okay.
Oh, and Bandcamp, of course, Bandcamp.
Oh, yeah, you got to do Bandcamp. Now, when you started performing your music in Taiwan, how did they accept it?
Well, here's the thing. I didn't perform. I just went in the studio and recorded. I never fired up another band. When I go in the studio, we figure out some kind of a beat pattern. We work with some pre-selected beats, which we then modify.
Right.
Then I'll record the grand piano, and after the grand piano, I'll do the bass guitar, and after I do the bass guitar, then I'll add some vocals, and then I'll do some harmony vocals, and then I add 3, 4, 5 tracks of trumpet, and I break out the harmonicas and add some of that. Maybe I add some kazoo, get out the bongos, play those for a while, and then do the tambourine and cowbell. Of course, more cowbell is, you know, those are words to live by. So I have a big cowbell, a little cowbell. I also have, I've got maracas. I've got a kazoo. Did I mention kazoo? And I also try to get in wherever I can.
The triangle.
The retail clerk bell. You know, the one you bang.
Yeah.
You're trying to get some help. I got a couple of those.
Nice.
So this whole even a rubber chicken. I got the whole set, right?
So, the rubber chicken. You gotta have that.
All right. You got to work in the rubber chicken once in a while.
Once in a while, you gotta pull them out.
So by the time by the time I get done, there's 15, 20, 25 tracks, and it's all me. And then Badlu adds the guitar. So then we have we never perform.
So you add all the instrumentations, and then you let him put the guitar and then arrange it all.
Yeah, we arrange it on the fly. You know, it's here we go. Let's see what happens. Every recording session is a new experiment, and sometimes it works out really well. And other times you come in, you say, "Dang, I'm going to throw that whole thing away. That was a big mess."
Big disaster. Now,
we got lucky lots of times.
Yeah, the studio you used a studio, or is it a home studio?
No, full-blown professional studio with a grand piano up there.
Yes.
You know, I'm paying regular studio rates.
Nice. Has he got any analog equipment in there?
He had a full assortment of state-of-the-art amplifiers. He had maybe, I want to say, 15 practice rooms, maybe a half a dozen pianos in the joint.
Woo! I'm loving this.
He was on 4 floors, so we worked on the 4th floor. The place is big.
Oh, okay, great.
On the ground floor, it's retail. They sell instruments on the ground floor. They've got music lessons, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, so we moved from coffee shop to teacher. Now we're a full-blown singer, musician, croner, everything going on right now, Mark. Yeah, I'm liking this.
Well, what happened last summer? Now, I've always been a big fan of Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra, Mel Torme, Joe Williams with the Count Basie Orchestra. I actually saw those guys in Chicago. Back when I lived in Chicago, I used to go to the jazz clubs and I go see the singers and stuff. And I've always enjoyed music of the 20s, 30s, 40s, especially the 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
And I taught for a while at a school with a buddy from Australia who's a really good piano player. So we would, in our spare time, we'd go play tunes and sing and play trumpet, goof around. And this summer, we decided let's both take our vacations at the same time in Taiwan. So we got together and we recorded. Well, let's see here. I'll run down a list for you. We recorded Autumn Leaves, Brother Can You Spare a Dime, Cheek to Cheek, Cry Me a River, Days of Wine and Roses, Don't Blame Me for Falling in Love with You. Dream a Little Dream of Me, I'll Be Seeing You. Isn't it romantic?
Yeah.
Love is a many splendored thing. We recorded that one. Misty, I Get Misty. Mona Lisa. We recorded Moon River, On the Street Where You Live.
You did Moon River?
We did Moon River. Yeah, it's coming. Wait for the final mix on that.
I want to hear that.
Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. Something Stupid. Frank Sinatra's song. Stardust. Yeah. We did Stardust. Tenderly. The Moon's a Harsh Mistress. The Way You Look Tonight. These Foolish Things. And we threw away our copy of What a Wonderful World because we both made a lot of mistakes on that. So we ended up with 21 songs that we could use out of a songbook of 40. We were in the studio 9 times, total of 27 hours, and we came up with 21 usable tunes. Those tunes I've published in YouTube, only YouTube so far, under our initials. MADGQ stands for Mark Allen Daves, Greg Quinlivan, Mad GQ.
All right, great. So, well, you got that many songs.
We got four songs on there so far, and I'm waiting for the other 17 to come rolling in.
Okay, well, you got, 21 songs you said, so that's 2 EPs right there. Are you going to put 2 out?
Maybe, probably. See,
I hope so.
I have not investigated the what do I want to say, the copyright issues involved in recording famous songs which somebody might hold the copyright to. So far, YouTube hasn't raised any squawks, but I haven't tried Bandcamp yet. So one of these days, I'm going to get around to testing the waters with Bandcamp and Spotify and those guys. They might slap me down and say, "Oh, you got to talk to BMI or ASCAP or whatever the deal is." But
a lot of the songs you're performing are the old timer songs, and most of those people have passed on. So I don't think you're going to run into too much problems.
Well, I told my buddy Greg, let's start with the old tunes because those guys are dead already. We're not going to get hassled by L. Jolson, right?
Right, exactly. Right? So let's get some CD.
Fats Waller, he recorded in 1929. How much guff is he going to give us? None.
Yeah, right. He's going to show up. So
the estate of Frank Sinatra might give me some trouble for something stupid. I don't know.
Yeah, Dean Martin, or you never know. So, all right, Mark, where did this creative process come from? You writing this music?
Well, right now I'm not writing any music. I'm recycling what I have in my collection. I've got 112 Electric Monk songs, which are now which are now Last Monk Standing songs because I am the last monk standing. The other monks are no longer working. So I have that legacy of music which I'm carrying on.
Nice.
And
I'm glad you do.
The crooners, you'll never run out of crooners. I've got in my songbook, this little songbook, just the preliminary one, I have 40 of them, and we recorded 21. Well, yeah, 21. So I got another 19 to go just in that book, and there's more songs I'd like to get to. So at this point in my life, I'm not really concerned about writing songs. I want to record the songs that I know. So that's
112 of them. That's going to keep you busy for a while.
Yeah. Now, once in a while, we will rewrite a song. I've got a high school buddy named John Borst, and he contributed a lot of songs to the Electric Monk. And we still collaborate. He had a song which neither one of us we didn't like the lyrics to it anymore. It was kind of dated, and so we turned that song into "A Child of Ukraine," which was the first song that I did in the Celebrity Studios there, and it's a protest song against Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So we basically took a song that was kind of useless, and we turned it around into a nice, strong protest song. So
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
in some cases, I'm recycling the songs in that way. I like the melody. I know the chord structure. They're part of my DNA, but it's possible to retrofit them with better, new, improved lyrics. So that's I've done that with a couple of songs, and I've got a couple more that I'm going to be completely switching the lyrics out and but still using
Okay.
the original song.
Great. So, do you plan on playing out anywhere? Are you playing out anywhere?
Uh-uh. I have no plans.
Uh,
I'm right now. I'm talking to you in my home studio. I got all the gear you need to have fun in here and to practice and get ready for the next recording. Actually, I'm going in the studio again tomorrow for 6 hours. Oh, I
right.
have a new studio here in Cape Coral, Florida that I'm going to.
Oh, nice.
If I mention their name, maybe other people will contact them and I'll have a harder time booking there. What do you think? Is it a good idea to let people know where I'm going?
Give a shout out.
I'm going to take a chance. Here's a shout out to my new studio. I'm working at Star Sound Studio in Cape Coral with a very good producer named Drew. And Drew is lightning fast on the mixing board, and he also plays guitar and is willing to contribute. So I've got one song under my belt from a couple of weeks ago with him, and I've got 3 more dates coming up in that studio that are already on the calendar. So still working on songs. Yeah.
Good. Well, and I'm noticing on your page you're gathering up some fans. How are they treating you?
Well, I am a very minor presence in the music world. I think I've got about 230 or something followers on YouTube. And here's how I'm treating the whole music situation now. In my own mind, I have told myself, Mark, you are out of the music business. So I changed all the settings on Bandcamp to free. If you want any of my music, whether it's one of the singles or one of the albums, I put out 2 albums. If you want any of that, just go in there and help yourself.
That's nice.
And you're not required to give your email address, any of that baloney. You just go in there and knock yourself out, help yourself.
That's good. Well, what do you think about, say, 20 years ago versus now getting your music out, where it was a lot harder back then? Now we got these platforms.
Yeah, I remember. I'll tell you a story. I was driving cabs to get through college back in Chicago. I did a lot of cab driving, and I got Johnny Mars in the cab, who was a very famous disc jockey at WXRT, and we were talking, and I said, I got this band that's been coming down to Chicago, and I've been booking some shows down here. We've been down here a few times. Here's my demo my demo cassette. Al, remember cassettes?
Yeah.
Here's my cassette, right? Oh yeah. He says, hey, okay, cool. So a little bit later, I come down to the station, maybe a few days later, and I knock on the door. Hey, Johnny, how you doing? He said, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I was in your cab. I said, I brought cassettes for everybody. I passed them around. I said, I know you got a new music night that be from 8 to 9 or whatever it was. I said, I hope you play. I hope you can play some of my music on there. And he looks at me. He goes, yeah, kid, that's not how it works.
You're right. That box. Oh, those were the days.
So, yeah. Now, what we used to do is we mass produce these cassettes and then send them to all the college radio stations.
Yeah, the best way to do it.
I got reports from some people. Somebody told me once, I was driving down in Southern Illinois and I heard some of your music coming out of the college radio station from Champaign. It's like, yeah.
Oh, yes. Wow. So now, Mark, you got everything in one spot. Do you plan on going out and doing some croning? You going to play somewhere?
Well, I'm in the very early stages of looking for another piano player. Obviously, my piano player is in Australia, and I'm in Florida. So
yeah, really.
We can't gig too easily right now. He's about 12,000 miles away, I think. So I need to find a new piano player. I got to find a piano player in order to do that here. And once I do, yes.
All right.
Yeah, I would like to get back. I would like to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's say you did find that piano player. You got together for a couple years. You got it down. You're offered a gig on the stage. Who would you want to perform with? Who in your mind is that person that you've always wanted to be on a stage with and perform with?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
Well, all right. All right, Al, I'm going to go off the deep end here. Now, we no longer have Tony with us.
Yeah,
Tony Bennett, he's gone.
he's gone.
He's gone. God bless Tony. He was a wonderful man.
Yes, he was.
He seemed to be such a kind and warm spirit. I've always loved his music. But he's left behind a musical widow, Lady Gaga. Now, Lady Gaga, she must have, she must sit up in her castle and weep at night. So if I could have somebody on stage to harmonize with, I think I'd give Lady Gaga a call. Say, look,
She's
I
beautiful.
know Tony's gone, but Mark is still here. So what do you say?
Yeah,
Right?
there you go. Exactly.
Right?
I agree. Yeah, if you can get a beautiful voice like hers to harmonize with you, that'd be awesome.
Hey,
Yeah.
a man can dream.
Yes, you can, and dreams do come true, Mark. They do. Yeah, you know they do. You know they do. So, I love the sound because, it's groovy, it's funky, it's soulful, it's just jazz, blues. It's a wrap up of a little of everything. I'm loving it.
I try to bring a different sound and a different voice to all the recordings. I try to specialize in multi-track harmonies as far as the vocals go.
Okay.
Same story with the trumpet. I like a thick line of trumpets, not just the melody, but a couple of harmonies to round it out, make it sound, give that mariachi band sound.
Yeah, fill it up. Exactly.
And I like the songs that tell a story. Like I recorded Sirens Calling Me, which is a song about a man who goes to sea. He follows in his father's footsteps, even though his father went down in a wreck and never came back. And his mother pleads with him to stay on the land and work. And we incorporate seagulls and the sound of waves into that song. It's not a standard classic pop song. It's not a rock and roll song. I don't know what genre song it is, but it's a song that tells a story. So those kind of songs I really like.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the songs that got a story that means something, that's got a meaningful, message to it. Definitely.
Yeah, well, I also Badlou and I recorded. I like to say 3 protest songs. We did the one "A Child of Ukraine," which basically is calling out Putin for invading a country and killing so many people, and it's just creating such chaos and misery in that part of the world. And there's a special place in hell for Putin. But also, I recorded a song called "Under the Gun," which kind of explores the psychology of living in a country in which you're always mindful of the fact that pandemonium can break out because there's 400 million guns here and so many psychos. And of course a political structure which you've got both parties taking money from the NRA. The NRA is pumping money into Washington and totally corrupting the system. And so I tell you something. Living in Taiwan for 14 years, where there are no guns in private hands and there are no mass shootings, there's no violence on the streets, gives you a different perspective on the United States. This country's got a lot of growing up to do. So anyhow, I recorded "Under the Gun," and then I was watching the news. Oh, there's another shooting, and the politicians are on the TV. Oh, our thoughts and prayers are with everybody. Our thoughts and prayers. So I wrote thoughts and prayers. Your thoughts and prayers won't stop the bleeding.
No. No, I talked to my wife about moving to Thailand, retiring to Thailand or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get out of here. But anyways, we're still talking music. Now, I want to talk a couple things before I talk to you about a couple songs. Have you noticed over the years, we've been doing this for a long time, any ups and downs in the music scene that you've seen that's good or bad?
I do like it that now. I do like it that publishing music is accessible to anyone who has the will to do it.
Right.
We are no longer we're no longer standing outside the record companies with their tin cup begging for a record contract. That those days are gone. So
Yep.
it's not like, oh, what can I do to what can I do to make a record contract happen for me? That's done. It's the same thing in the publishing world for books. I mean, I published my first book a few years ago. I didn't have to ask a publishing company to do it. It's available on Amazon.
Yeah, true. That's
So
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm actually working on my own book. I'm trying to finish it up right now, so get that done. That's not easy to do.
I'm working on book number 2. It's called Last Monk Standing: The Rise and Fall of Electric Monk.
The title of my book is real simple: Being in a Band, and I mean it detailed.
Well,
Yes.
My book about the band. See, the idea behind the band book is, I read somewhere that out of 1,000 bands, 993 fall by the wayside, and only 7 get any traction. Well, there's a lot of stories in those 993 bands that fall by the wayside.
Of course there is, yeah.
My band fell by the wayside. It crashed spectacularly. I don't want to get into the details too much. It's all going to be in the book, but I'm 250 pages into that thing.
Nice.
And I'm not pulling any punches. What happened, and it's all good.
That's what I'm telling him, man.
But again, I don't have to get Putnam or Macmillan or somebody to publish it. I'm just going to go straight to Amazon and start selling it. So just like
that. Yeah, Amazon and go there. Exactly.
Yep.
All right, Mark, let's talk about some music here. All right. I got a few songs that I've written down. I want you to maybe tell me a little bit about them. I like this song. We got Say Hello.
Oh, Say Hello. That's a Mark Jasper song. Mark was the rhythm player in our band, and he was, I want to say, the principal songwriter. He probably knocked out 2/3 of our songs.
Okay.
And he wrote a lot of love songs. He had some stormy relationships, and he's been through a couple of gals, as we all have. And that was, I believe, one of his love songs. Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's a cool song, man. I love it. And then what about Autumn Leaves?
Ooh, Autumn Leaves. Autumn Leaves is a favorite going back to my childhood. We used to listen to that. I forgot who recorded it, but my parents had a big record collection. So I've always loved that song. I've known that song since I had ears back,
That's great.
Probably became aware of that song when I was 6 or 7. So I've always carried that song in my heart.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then we've got I Can Still Believe.
I Can Still Believe was also a Mark Jasper song. And I believe that when I put the PowerPoint presentation together to meld with the music, I had the idea that I can still believe that Taiwan is a free and independent democracy and not a part of China. And so that is the slant that I took when I put the YouTube video together. The idea that I can still believe that at some time in the future, the countries of the world which are too cowardly to acknowledge Taiwan's independence will wake up one day and say, "Wait a minute, Taiwan is Asia's premier democracy, and we should not just be supporting them with arms. We should also be acknowledging Taiwan as an independent country, and we should be sending our diplomats back there and reestablishing formal relations, and get some boots on the ground so that if China decides to invade, there might be, say, 5, 10, 15,000 soldiers on the western coast of Taiwan saying, no, that's not going to happen." So
I like that. I like what you're saying there.
Very pro-independence for Taiwan. The Chinese bullying that goes on day after day with their jets flying over the country, I abhor that. I think it's nationalistic bullying, and President Xi should be ashamed of himself.
That's just disgusting. That's terrible.
Anyhow, I took Mark Jasper's song and I completely twisted around. I have no idea what he was saying in the first place, but I know what I wanted to say with it.
Yeah, I bet you did. Mark. So, okay, Mark, we're kind of getting towards that end. I don't want the machine to start smoking here like it does, but what's the future hold for you, buddy? What are you going to do in the next 5-10 years with your music?
Well, I have the slogan 70 by 70. I'm 68 years old. I'm 68 years old. I will turn 69 in January. I would like to have 70 songs recorded by the age of 70.
70 songs by 70. You're going to do it. You're
70 by 70. 70 by 70, baby. That's the goal. And then beyond that, 100 by 100.
There you go.
I'm going to keep on recording.
I know you can do it, brother. I know. Now, this question I'm going to ask you, and this is going to go the range of all the years. What advice can you give to these youngsters? You remember back in the coffee shop, what advice did we give them, and what advice can we give them now?
Oh, forget about the money. Forget about the money. Yeah, you're not going to make any money. Okay.
Nope.
Let's get that clear in the first place. It's like making money in the music business is like winning the lottery. Now, you're probably not going to make any money. So go ahead and get that out of your mind in the first place. Now, what is it you want to perform? What is it you want to record? And also, if you're in a small town, get out of that small town, go to a major market. Now, that's what happened to my band. I moved to Chicago. I established a beachhead there. I started to book shows there, and the guys came for the first few shows. And after that, it was too far to drive. They got too lazy. They didn't want to come. Oh, it's 3.5 hours drive. I said, hey, the Beatles didn't care about crossing the channel and playing Hamburg. It's time to pay your dues. So you got to pay. You're going to pay your dues. You might not make any money. You're probably not going to make any money. It's not about the money. It's about making the music. It's about leaving a musical legacy behind. When you are gone, when you are off the planet, you leave the recordings behind. Those will endure. That's your legacy. It's not
your legacy. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if you're on Bandcamp or whatever, and you say, "I don't want your money," now you're standing on a taller platform.
Oh, exactly.
You're not begging anymore. It's like, will you please buy my album? Help yourself to my albums. Help yourself to my singles, and go ahead and do some free shows while you're at it. I did plenty of free shows back in the day. Why not?
Yeah, why? I did too. Yeah, exactly. It's just about getting the music out, and we do it because it makes our heart big, and it makes it even bigger when we see the audience jamming to our music and making their heart big.
Whether it's a crowd that's dancing that makes you happy, that's a great thing, or whether it's people who respond to your recordings, it's all about getting it out there and not worrying about success. Forget about success.
Just to have some fun.
As far as I'm concerned, success is producing music. It's not about reaping any reward. It's about the music itself. Yeah,
the reward will come if you just keep at it. Yes.
Well, for me, the reward every day is if I want to, I can hop in the car. I can listen to my own tunes on the way to work. Hey, rock on, man.
I like it. And that's turn that radio down, people, and listen out there. There's some great original music out there, local and national. Check it out. So today's guest was Mark Dave's Florida area. Nice and warm down there. Yeah. I had to go through a tornado the other day. That was fun.
Well, we just had a hurricane blow by, but it missed us. So I collected some bamboo shoots. That was about the extent of it.
Oh, okay. All right. Good deal. Mark, my friend, it was a pleasure to talk to you after 20 years, my friend.
Yeah, it was great. I'm glad we had a chance to connect. And once more for your listeners, that would be Last Monk Standing and Mad GQ. Hit that subscribe button.
Subscribe that button. That's right. Get to Mark. Subscribe. You're going to love what you're going to do.
Hit that button. Don't be shy.
That's right. You don't have to be shy or Big Al, and Mark will come through the mic and make you push the button. That's right.
Yes, I'll push a button for you. I'll come over and push your button.
I miss you, buddy. I really do, and I'm glad you came on the show today. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Al. It was a pleasure talking with you. Thanks for reminding me.
Well, everybody out in podcast land, check out Mark Daves and his music and everything he's doing because it's amazing stuff he's doing out there in Florida. And he's not going to stop anytime soon. So support your local and original and national music scene out there. Of course, check out the previous shows, and we got a lot of great future shows. And we are touching all over the world. Your interviews are being heard, and the people are getting off their butts and on the platforms and listening to your music. So, and I can tell by the statistics. And I won't tell you who's where and what's going on, but you guys are really rocking, man. And it's great to talk to the people around the world with the different dialects. I hope I didn't piss too many people off, but yeah, it worked. So, yeah. So that's where we're at, Mark. So, again, Mark, thank you for stopping today. This is your show. How do you want to wrap it up? Who do you want to say thank you, props to, anything?
Oh, man. I want to say thanks to the guys in the band for getting me off to a good start with a lot of tunes and a lot of experience in the studio. I want to say thanks to all the crooners who have gone before me and provided a great example and kind of a model to emulate. And I want to say thanks to my wife for being sweet and for being kind and for putting up with my nonsense and for being such a great partner.
That's beautiful.
And Al, I want to say thanks to you too, man. I've enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to your future podcasts.
You're going to be back on, Mark. I'm going to keep my eye on you 6 months a year. You're back on, or I'm coming down and we're doing it live.
That sounds good to me, man. I'm going back in the studio tomorrow. I got another 6 hours booked. So I've got 18 hours booked. There's at least three, four more tunes coming in the next month or so.
Amazing, Mark. Amazing what you're doing. You always surprise me, brother. You always do. So you take care of that beautiful wife of yours, and you take care of yourself. And I'm going to talk to you real soon. Okay, brother?
All right. Take care, Al.
All right, Mark. We're out of here. No Cover TV podcast. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Peace. Talk to you soon, Mark.